Good evening, dear students. Today we will learn about educational psychology. Educational psychology is an applied science. It is now an independent subject of the study on the branch of knowledge. It consists of the application of psychological principles and techniques to the development of educational practices and programs and to the solution of educational programs. The educational psychology is a science of educational engineering which is mainly considered with the application of psychological principles to the practical problems in the field of education. According to Thoreau, educational psychology is a study of psychological aspects of the educational situation. Judd describes educational psychology as a scientific study of the life of the stages in the development of an individual from time he is born until he becomes an adult. For the educational psychologist, classroom is his working laboratory, and there he seeks scientific knowledge to many problems related to teaching. In recent years, educational psychology has included the study of social climate in the classroom, technique of behavior modification, programmed learning, and theories of engineering cognitive development. Thus, educational psychology is a growing discipline, adding a new directions to the field of the study. Scope of educational psychology. All human behavior fall within scope of general psychology. Educational psychology is primarily correlated with the investigation of teaching learning process. The scope of educational psychology is more limited and specific than psychology. Briefly discuss the scope of educational psychology. Mental capabilities. The teacher decides this method of teaching based on the pupil's ability, aptitude, and other mental qualities: intelligence, memory, attention, interest, thinking, reasoning, imagination, sentiment, emotions, motive, need, work, and fatigue. Backwardness, delinquency, and other problem behavior come under the categories of educational psychology. Stages of development. Children pass through various stages of life such as infancy, childhood, adulthood, and adolescence. At all these stages have their own special characteristics. If the teacher knows the peculiarities and characteristics of the learners who are in different stage of development, he can utilize his knowledge for modifying their behavior appropriately. Teaching learning process. To deal effectively in the class, the teacher must understand the principles of learning and various approaches to the learning process. Problems of learning and the remedial measures. It also gives the knowledge of various approaches to understand the learning process. Factors affecting the guidance of effective learning. Individual differences. The teacher in the class has to interact with many children who have large number of individual differences. The teacher, with the help of the knowledge of the individual difference, can adjust his teaching to the needs of the children. It may also helpful for him in creating suitable environment for developing their inherent potentialities. Teaching strategies. Educational psychology gives the teachers the knowledge of appropriate methods of teaching. It helps them develop new strategies of teaching which are appropriate to different age groups. Curriculum construction. Psychological principles help the teachers develop a sound curriculum for different age groups. Needs of children, society, developmental characteristics, transfer possibilities, etc. are to be considered for developing a curriculum. Behavior of children. By learning educational psychology, the teacher can be sensitive to the cause and problems of children. The teacher with psychological background can solve many of the problems of the children in time. The knowledge of educational psychology helps the teacher to lead to the development of number of useful techniques for getting a better understanding of specific instances of behavior, measuring the performance of children. Psychological tools help the teachers assess the performance of the students accurately. we can accurate the effectiveness of her teaching methods. Also, in the light of the performance of his students. In this way, the teacher can modify his own or her own methods of teaching, develop positive attitude. Many teachers, when they take up teaching as their profession, does not possess a sound positive attitude towards teaching profession. Educational psychology helps to modify their attitudes with their necessary competences and techniques to meet the challenges of the classroom. Guidance and counseling. Educational psychology enriches the teachers with the sound of principles of guidance and counseling techniques. Therefore, they can learn how to guide for normal personality and adjustment. Deal with mental health problem. The fact the teacher, by studying educational psychology, can know the various factors which are responsible for the mental ill health and maladjustment of the teacher himself and the students. To work with the group. Working with the group is an art. Teacher who is familiar with social behavior and group dynamics facilitates more classroom learning. It helps the teacher to provide opportunities for good leadership. To conduct research. Educational psychology helps the teachers take up research studies in the respective areas. It also helps in conducting experiments to research solution. In addition, educational psychology also has influenced the practice of education. The area, for example, the areas such as discipline, problem, planning and administration. Co-curricular activities, condition of test and innovations are influenced by the knowledge of educational psychology. Methods of educational psychology. Tools of educational psychology. The method means a system of process or way of performing something systematically. Some of the important methods and techniques used in collecting data in educational psychology are introspection, observation, case study, interview, and experiment.